Hey guys! So today we're going to work on equivalent fractions. Now that's a fancy way of saying fractions that equal each other. So, I don't know if you know this, but a fraction is a part of something, how many times it's broken up. So let's say we were to take a whole pizza and break it into two equal sections. I have 1/2 because it's 1 out of 2. I have half and half. If I break it up into 3 equal sections, I have 1 divided by 3, or 1/3. So both of them are equivalent. I have 2 halves, or 3/3. If you realize, both of them make a whole. But what if I just wanted to know, let's put away our 1/3 for a moment. And let's take a look at this. I can replace a half with something else that's the same. In fact, take a look at this. I can finish my circle by doing 2/4, because a half is the exact same thing as 2/4. Also, I can go even further and I can take away a 1/4 and replace it with 2/8. Or take away both and I can say that 1/2 is the same thing as saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 8. Well, I'm going to clear the board right now. And let's figure out how I can get there without using my pizza pies. So, everyone take out your worksheet for today, and I'm going to teach you how to find equivalent fractions, like these. So, let's erase that up. And let's start with number 1. Number 1 says 3/4. So here's the idea. Did you know that if you multiply the top and the bottom of a fraction by the same number, you're getting an equivalent fraction? Let's look back over here. I said that 1/2 was the same as 4/8. So, what would happen if I multiplied 1 by 4 and 2 by 4? Well, 1 times 4 is 4, and 2 times 4 is 8. So, that's how I find equivalent fractions. I just multiply the top and the bottom by the same number. So let's take a look at 3/4. You can choose any numbers you want to multiply by. In fact, I find that some people like to multiply by 2, other people like to multiply by 5, and some people like to multiply by 10. So we all might have different answers for these problems. It says, find any 2 equivalent fractions. So for the first one I'm going to do, I'm going to multiply by 2 and by 2. That would give me one equivalent fraction of 3 times 2 is 6, over 4 times 2 is 8. Okay? So that's one equivalent fraction. Let's find another one. So let's write 3/4, and you can multiply it again by anything you want. So you can multiply by 3, you can multiply by 4, you can multiply by 100. So I'm going to multiply the top and the bottom by 100. And that would give me 300 over 400. And I now have 2 equivalent fractions. And they mean the exact same thing. 300 over 400 is really just a fancy way of saying 3 over 4. But guess what? Later on we're going to learn 3 over 4 is a much nicer way to say it. Let's go to problem number 2. Problem number 2 says 2 over 7. So if I'm finding equivalent fractions, what's a good number to multiply by? Yeah, you can do 2, you can do 10, you can do 100. I saw the hundreds were fun because the math was easy to do. I'm going to choose math that's a little harder, and so I can practice my fact fluency, I'm going to multiply by 7. So I'm going to multiply by 7, and that gives me 2 times 7 is 14, and 7 times 7 is 49. So it's a great idea for you to practice your fact fluency by choosing numbers that maybe you're not as good at multiplying with. So for my second one, for my second set, I'm going to try multiplying by 12. So times 12 times 12. 2 times 12 is 24. That wasn't so terrible. 7 times 12 is probably the harder one though. And that is 84. How are we doing? It's not bad. So now I'm going to go quickly through a bunch of examples for problems 3 through 6, and you're going to come up with any ones on your own. Now, if you come up with some the same as mine, fantastic. Don't worry if you don't. You might still be correct. So just make sure that you ask somebody that knows how to do this if you did it right. Please stop. Okay, so now I'm going to slow down and I won't go so fast. Check your answers really quick. See if we got any of them the same. If you even have one set the same and you multiply by something different throughout, I'm sure that your other ones are right as well, as long as your arithmetic was right. That means your multiplication. So, do your independent work now and practice, because practice is important. Bye.